You have to print your work. There is no you could print your work or you should print your work. No, I really mean it. You have to print your work. I watched a video by a fellow YouTuber the other day who also briefly mentioned that he printed a portfolio. And this is also what I did myself not too long ago. I printed a small, cheap, portable portfolio, which I'm gonna talk about in this video. But before we start, I think I noticed that I didn't flip my Galaxy Cat calendar, so let's do this first before we get started. July, my favorite one so far. And August. I would like to start this video off by showing you what I made, and this is my portfolio, which I would consider my collection of best images that I have taken so far regarding street photography. This is a very compact and very simple solution. I used this black binder, which contains these plastic sleeves, which can store, I think, up to 40 images. This whole setup only cost me 10 euros. I found this binder for 2 euros on a flea market and I printed all these images for the total of 8 euros. The images in here are 11 by 15 centimeters, which is a relatively unusual size because most of the printing companies print images that are 10 by 15 or 15 by 17 centimeters, and it was quite hard to find a company that would print images in 11 by 15 centimeters, but I found one for a reasonable price, so I was good to go. But if you buy a binder, just make sure that the sizes that it can fit are accessible to you and the printing companies around you do print the sizes that you need for the binder. Oh, and by the way, I like those binders where you can switch out the images because you do not have to reprint the whole thing like in a book, but you can just reprint new images if you think that this is outdated and you want to put something new in. So just see what works best for you, but for me this is the perfect solution to also keep it updated every now and then if you made new images. You could ask why it is important to print your images as I started off this video, and by showing you this portfolio I would like to illustrate my points why I think this is very crucial. First up, what I noticed when printing my images for this portfolio is that you really have to dig deep and find out which images are your best and which images represent you best. If you store your images on your hard drive or if you have an Instagram page, you might already be at the point that you kind of sort through your images, but still, when you only can show 40 images, you really think about which images are the one that represent you best. Also, compared to social media, when printing your images, especially in a binder like this, where it's always pairs of images, you really have to think about how you arrange them. The images do not only stand by themselves, but they are paired with another image. And more than that, if you flip a page, you also have to think about why this image should follow the other image. And I think this is a very important process that you have to go through to really understand your images and not see them as individual pieces, but as sort of a body of work that represents you. Apart from the process behind such a portfolio, it's also important that this can serve several other purposes. There are several scenarios that come to mind where I think that something like this will be very, very handy, so let me walk you through. Number 1, strangers on the street. I don't know about you, but for me, especially in street photography, there were several occasions where people came up to me and were interested in what I'm doing, because they do not know why people just take pictures on the street. And usually I would simply explain. I would say that I'm a street photographer, I document life on the street, I document the zeitgeist of the world right now, and this might seem a bit abstract to some people, and some people might even feel threatened when you take pictures on the street. So one step that could really make it more concrete and not as abstract is simply by showing people what you do. Just giving them something physical in their hand that they can hold, that they can flip through, and just see that there's no harm in what you're doing, but everything you do is just out of a good purpose. And I think this could be a very good method to get into the dialogue with strangers on the street. Number 2 is other photographers. When you go on meetups, if you go to photo walks or just meet other photographers, of course you will also be interested in their work and see what they did in the past. And what most people usually do is just switch out Instagram names look each other up on social media, look at their work after. But what I think is really nice is that you can simply bring your portfolio with you and show people your work straight away. It's a totally different viewing experience when you see the work printed, if you can feel it, if you can touch it, and also see the thinking process behind why this person curated it in this way and not in any other way. I have to say that these were the times where I was most impressed, when other photographers simply magically took prints out of their bags and had something to show. So I think this is a very good step, to be concrete, to show your work and have something physical people can simply flip through. And number 3 are potential customers. It could be the stranger on the street, and it could also be your photography buddy, but it could be anybody else who might be interested in purchasing a print from you. If you have a portfolio like this with your best images or the images that you like the most, it is very easy to show people the options you have and what kind of images you could also sell as prints. Of course, in here this does not have to have the best paper or image quality. It does not have to be fine art Baryta paper if it's just a portfolio you throw in your bag and bring out every now and then. But it's a good starting point to show people the images that you kind of have in your arsenal that you can print. You could kind of see this as a catalog, as for example when you pick out a color for your walls, where you see a preview and then you can anticipate how the final results will look like. And it's pretty much the same. People can decide which images they like, they can decide which paper it should be printed on, you can offer specific sizes which you can print it on, and it's just kind of a preview where they can pick out which images they would like to have as a print. To sum it up, this might look like nothing at first glance. It's just a simple binder with a couple of prints in there, but just the thinking process behind it, that you have to curate it, that you have to put some thought into which images you pick, how you arrange them, and also the purpose it could serve to just get into dialogue with other people and potentially even sell prints, I think is such a big plus. This costs almost nothing, it's almost no effort, you can bring it everywhere and just be ready if people are interested in your work. So I would advise you to print a small portable portfolio yourself. You can just throw in your bag and be prepared to talk to people, show your work, and also have something nice to look at for yourself. That is it for today. Let me know what you think about printing your work and what you think about printing a small portable portfolio. And I would say, see you next time.